All right. Well, it looks like it's noon, so I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you for joining. This is the second webinar in our winter speaker series. As you can see, today we're talking about how to scale your impact through human-centered design. Just a couple of logistics real quick before we get started. This presentation is being recorded and it will be shared afterwards, after we have time to process it and upload it to our YouTube channel. So if you have to hop off, it's not the end of the world, and we'll share it with you, and we'd appreciate you could share it, more broadly. If you have questions, we'll be taking questions at the end. Feel free to post them in the chat as we go. If something jumps into your mind, though, we'll circle back at the end and answer them. And just real quick for those, this webinar is being hosted by the California Data Collaborative. We are a nonprofit membership-driven organization where water agencies collaborate to create tools and applied research supporting planning and analysis. Ultimately, our goal is really a water sector that's inspired and empowered to make informed and data-driven decisions. So with that, to kick us off here, I'm going to turn things over to Brian Probolski, who serves as the president of the Moulton Niguel Water District and has served as a member of the Moulton Niguel Board of Directors since 2008. Under Director Probolski's leadership, Moulton Niguel provides more than 172,000 customers with safe and reliable water service at the lowest average monthly bill in South Orange County. Probolski's priorities include maintaining safe and reliable access to a clean water supply, protecting our beaches and local waterways from pollution, and embracing state-of-the-art water technology to improve customer service and reduce operating costs. During his tenure, the district has won numerous awards from the Water Now Alliance, the Association of California Cities, Orange County, the Orange County Business Council, and Sustain OC, as well as the state of California's highest environmental honor. And with that, I'll turn it over to Director Probolski.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Chris. And welcome everyone to today's program. On behalf of the Moulton Niguel Water District Board of Directors, I want to thank the California Data Collaborative team for developing this winter webinar series. In the past, the focus of the collaborative has been on an annual summer conference. The California Water Data Summit was the premier event, but obviously with COVID and the events of the times, we've split it up into smaller events like this. So I'm glad that we now have another way to engage our stakeholders on the work being done by the collaborative and how it's helping the members. Shortly, our very own Lindsey Stuvick is going to share with you some recent help the collaboratives provided to Moulton Niguel, which helped us streamline our bill adjustment process. It's saving us an incredible amount of resources, and that's an accomplishment that's good for the district and for our customers. On that note, I want to thank the entire California Data Collaborative team, and I'll hand the virtual mic actually, back to Chris. So thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd like to apologize real quick. I'm about to hand it over to Abe Serrano, but I seem to have misplaced his bio. So Abe, if you are there, I might actually just turn it over to you, and you can, I apologize, just give yourself a quick introduction, since I don't think I'd be able to do it justice anyways.
All good. Thanks, Chris. Hello, everyone. My name is Abe Serrano, and I'm the Director of User Experience for WaterUX. So actually, let me start sharing my screen here, and we will get started. Yeah, so as I mentioned, my name is Abe Serrano, and I'm the Director of User Experience for WaterUX. So WaterUX is a design and data innovation agency for the water sector. And we specialize in taking a wide lens approach to innovation to de-risk data solutions by solving for the last mile of decision making. And so what that means is that there's currently a lot of new data sets coming online, and stakeholders are having a hard time developing meaningful and actionable insights from their available data. Water agencies are facing the unique challenge of navigating increasing regulations, changing climate patterns, impacted local economies due to global pandemics, and the overarching call to do more with less. Agencies often come to us when they have to implement, when they have implemented a new data collection infrastructure, but are having a hard time managing and analyzing their data. Or they come to us when they need to upgrade legacy data systems or augment their existing data infrastructure to adapt to new requirements. Or they may come to us when they need to streamline data systems for operational and reporting efficiencies. So with 15 years of experience, we are really good at designing and developing data solutions. But what sets us apart is our human-centered design approach. Typically, what happens is that when people approach innovation, they start with the technology and they try to make it fit for the situation. But we believe that we believe that the future of water data is human, and that data solutions should be designed and architected specifically for the humans that will be using them. If you think about it, yeah, humans generate data, humans analyze data, and humans make key decisions based on data. And this is why human-centered design is at the core of everything we do. But this brings up the question of, so what is human-centered design? Well, let's first talk about what human-centered design is not. Human-centered design is not magic. It's not a shortcut to innovation, nor is it a step-by-step process to follow. At its core, human-centered design is a mindset. It is a way of thinking that helps you solve problems creatively. It is a way of thinking that focuses on the needs of your target demographic and becomes the foundation for a final solution that bridges the gap between a basic technical solution that is good enough to a solution that solves the problem, relieves the pain point, and enables new opportunities. So human-centered design is just one tool in the innovation toolkit. As we just learned, human-centered design is a mindset, which is the foundation for design thinking. Design thinking is a framework to find that intricate balance between what makes sense for your end users and what is technologically doable and what is viable for your business. So through design thinking, this brings clarity to detailed segments of work called innovation sprints that allow for early prototypes to be generated and early user feedback to be captured. Closely tied to the innovation sprints are the skill disciplines of data architecture, user experience, and user interface design, which help translate your validated ideas into real-world products. When all of these tools are brought together, they can be used in an iterative process to launch data solutions quickly, on budget, and at scale. So I know I just presented a whole bunch of terms here, and I don't expect you to remember all of them, but really I just wanted to show how they relate to each other and also just communicate like what they truly are. Human-centered design being a mindset, design thinking being a framework, innovation sprints being a process, data, UX, and UI being a skill, and a solution ultimately being a problem solved. So now let's dive deeper into the three core principles of human-centered design, which are empathy, ideation, and experimentation. Empathy positions you to gain a deep understanding of the actual users you are designing for. It gives you a space to ask what motivates them, how do they go about their day, what causes friction for them, what is the core problem under the surface level symptoms. The insights and observations you gain by asking these questions allow you to clearly define the problem most worth solving. This often comes in the form of a problem statement that becomes your guiding North Star and clearly answers the following questions. What are we trying to solve? For whom are we trying to solve it? What are the different ways we can approach this from? And how can we act on it? Once the problem you're trying to solve is clearly defined, you are ready to suspend the status quo, challenge widespread assumptions, and invent a future where your problem has been solved. The goal is not to create polished, ready to launch solutions, but to generate as many ideas as possible without concern for feasibility or viability just yet. Many of your ideas will ultimately go into the rejection pile, but by focusing on quantity over quality, you will arrive at unexpected solutions that your users will actually adopt and embrace. Ideas are then proposed, evaluated, merged, and remixed until you actually have a set of ideas that can be turned into simple, testable prototypes. And by developing a prototype, this is a cheap and easy way to test your solution in the real world and capture feedback from real users. This is a critical step that saves you both time and money, reveals how viable your solution is, and offers insights for iteration and further improvement. So although the three core principles of human-centered design are simple to understand, they are just like any other skill and require intentional practice to gain proficiency. So here are some practical steps that you can develop, that you can use to start to develop a human-centered design mindset within your organization. The first step is to develop organizational awareness. Understand how you fit into your organization, learn about the objectives of your department, and understand how those objectives impact your organization's long-term strategy. Become an observer of the status quo. Observe how things are currently done and ask questions to see if it is effective and efficient. Discover what your organization needs but doesn't have. Ask your colleagues what they need to do their jobs better and recognize patterns and connect the dots. Always think of the big picture. Take time to zoom out and see the bigger picture. What are the opportunities and where can you contribute? Acknowledge that everything is connected. Everything is connected in our modern world, and modern solutions require systemic thinking. Focus on the problem, not the symptoms. This is important because symptoms will always draw the most attention, but make sure you take the time to test and see if there is an underlying problem. The next one is to become comfortable with ambiguity. Oftentimes, you will be required to move forward without a clear pathway to success, and that is okay. Be strategic and start small. Strategize, plan, and work with what you have. And seek out learning opportunities. Embrace the uncertainty of failure and as learning opportunities for future improvement. And ultimately, it just comes down to practice. Focus on the long-term gain and celebrate the small wins. So now that you are all experts and up to speed on the basics of human-centered design, we definitely have our work cut out for us in the water sector. There's a great need to improve the way humans interact with water data, and the opportunities are abundant. So we at WaterUX have surveyed the water sector, and here are some opportunities that we see where human-centered design can be applied. You have streamlined data reporting, real-time data analysis, predictive data models, regulatory compliance, operational efficiencies, time series analysis, as well as layered data analysis, improved customer service, and forecasting and planning. So that's kind of just the very quick and simple introduction to human-centered design. We've been working and doing some great work with the California Data Collaborative, and I just, in my humble opinion, I feel like the future is bright for the Data Collaborative. I'm working on a lot of great solutions coming up in the next year or two that will really kind of set the standard for interacting with water data and regulatory compliance in the coming years. But I just wanted to kind of quickly showcase some of the work that we've been able to do with the Data Collaborative. So I'm sure Chris will be able to give a much more detailed introduction to what the Data Collaborative is. But part of its core offering is a software analytics product that takes available water data from local water agencies and is able to clean that data, format the data, and then present staff at water agencies with a data analysis tool to actually focus on water conservation and also planning into the future for conservation programs. So here, I'll go ahead and share a couple of screenshots that we've been able to develop and that are actually currently live. If you're a member of the CaDC, you're very familiar with this, but for those who are new, I'll just quite quickly give an overview. So how we applied the human-centered design process was that we took that step back and really took an opportunity to understand who the core users were for the collaborative and what they were trying to accomplish. And then from there, we did a deep dive analysis of their current product offering and figuring out where there are opportunities to improve, and then also establishing what is the pathway forward to actually achieve the desired outcomes and for the given demographic. So a lot of that included just like speaking to member agencies and staff at these agencies one-on-one. The members of the collaborative are phenomenal and very gracious with their time and very much willing to speak with us. And so we were able to go in and really kind of understand, what is their workflow? What are they hoping to achieve by utilizing this tool? Where may there be gaps in their experience? And ultimately, what are the outputs that they're looking for to help them improve their job or become more efficient or be able to more accurately report their data, specifically around conservation and customer segmentation. So here we were able to develop a couple of dashboards and a couple of data viewports for them to be able to accomplish just that. So at the highest level, we produced this regional benchmarks dashboard that allowed agencies to kind of see how they relate to in their water efficiency goals in comparison to other agencies within their region. So this kind of just allows for a quick level comparison and being able to kind of see, where there were opportunities for improvement or if they were kind of leading the way in this regard. We were also able to kind of source high-level public data sets and kind of bring it all together in a consolidated view to create profiles for individual agencies, so they could see their own trends within their service area. So then again, always highlighting like how that relates to other agencies within their region. And then we were able to drill down one level deeper and create this customer segmentation tool that allowed staff to run queries on very specific segments within their customer base and identify maybe like a high use water customer. And then those customers could be segmented into targeted outreach for conservation programs. And then it also provided a view at the individual and specific customer level. So you could pull up a customer profile, kind of see the historical water use, and then again, compare that customer to other customers within their neighborhood. So again, this talk is specifically about human-centered design. It's not specifically a complete demo of the data collaborative. If you're interested in learning more about this product, please reach out to the collaborative, and I'm sure they'd love to give you a demo. But specifically for this talk specifically, I would just want to go back to these opportunities that we highlighted. If you're interested in starting any of these initiatives within your organization, or you're currently working on similar initiatives, I would love to hear from you. I'd also love to hear from you if you've recently implemented an AMI data structure, but you're having a hard time managing or analyzing your data, or possibly if you're in need of upgrading your legacy data systems, as well as if you need to streamline your operational or reporting data systems. Feel free to email me at, there you go. Feel free to email me at abe@WaterUX so we discuss further. So for the sake of time, I think there will be a time for Q&A at the end after our next speaker. But for now, thank you for your time, and I'm going to go pass it back to Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Abe. And I'll say, Abe is, so we've been working with Abe for about a year now. And Abe is being charitable for not showing, doing before and after screenshots of whatever, what some of our software looked like before he came in. So I'm thank you, Abe, both for, being charitable just now and also for all of the work over the last year. I just want to build, briefly on, before we turn over to Lindsey, on what Abe has said, in that, having this user-centered mindset is so important. And I feel like it's very easy, really people talk about it sort of stereotypically, you think about government as being, you get sort of bureaucratic and process driven, but it can happen, with any organization. You have your own processes and you start doing things, more for the process than for to support the end outcome, or you get so involved in your own work that it seems like your worldview on the work is sort of everything. And I know this is something Abe has helped us with, is not just looking at we came to Abe and we're like, oh, how do we improve the CaDC analytics? And Abe was like, well, don't just stop there. Think about the whole experience of, all of your CaDC members, right? Go back to day one, from the day people first hear about the CaDC. What is their whole journey and their whole experience look like from the time they hear about the CaDC to the time that they're, trying to use the software. Taking that wider lens has been very helpful for us. So thank you, Abe. And Abe gave a great overview of some of these user-centered design terms, or just design terms in general. But our next speaker, Lindsey, is really going to dive into a specific example of some work that we've done with Moulton Niguel to help them out. So I did happen to find the bios that I was supposed to have up, so I can introduce Lindsey. Lindsey Stuvick manages the water efficiency department at Moulton Niguel Water District and serves on the board of directors for the California Water Efficiency Partnership, and as the co-chair of the business development team with the California Data Collaborative. Her career has been dedicated to developing sustainable data-driven water efficiency solutions and customer engagement strategies that can be replicated and adapted across the industry. She has a master's degree in urban and regional planning from the University of California, Irvine, and a bachelor's degree in political science from California State University, Fullerton. She is also the recipient of the Switzer Fellowship from the Robert and Patricia Switzer Foundation. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Lindsey.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that introduction, and I will now try to share my screen if you just give me one moment to get started. Okay. And just let me know when we're good. Chris?
Oh, right. We are seeing the sort of admin view. We're not seeing the full screen view.
I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Well, it might be that I just have to do it the other way, and you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way
if
works
not,
too.
yeah. I mean, we're going to go on a journey. I like that you called it a journey. That's the hope, is that you'll get to see, how the California Data Collaborative helped us, at least with our bill adjustment process and many more processes that we do. But I'm just going to try this one more time, just because I want to make sure that I get a chance to. Let me see if this works. Are you still on the admin side?
Yeah, but it's all right.
Okay. Okay. Well, then here we go. Apologies, everybody. How about now? I think I got it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you got it.
Okay. I figured out how to use technology. You see, this is why we contact the Data Collaborative. So thank you, Chris, for having me on today. I'm really excited to be here to talk about our bill adjustment tool. You know, normally when we get a chance to talk to folks, we talk about our programs and some of the really neat work that we've done with data and those things, but don't really get a chance to talk about our internal processes and how we've been working with the Data Collaborative to streamline those. And I'm hoping that you know, just by folks that are watching this, you know, if you listen to some of the things that I'm saying and you find that you're in the same place, like you're probably going to hear me say that at one point my staff had to have 3 monitors to perform a process, or we just felt stuck at certain points. And, you know, if you hear that and that resonates with you, I really do encourage you to reach out to Chris and Abe, just because the process of working with them not only helped improve our internal process, but you know, it helped us understand more of how we want to work more efficiently and how we could take that same mindset and apply it to other processes and programs that we operate. And so, you know, this wasn't just a process to develop a tool. It was really like a learning experience that, you know, now we can apply to other things that we do internally and that are customer facing. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. So just a little bit about the district. So Moulton Niguel Water District, we are located in South Orange County. We provide drinking water, wastewater treatment, and recycled water services to approximately 172,000 customers, majority of which are residential. We have a 7-member board of directors, one of whom you met earlier on this webinar. We are recognized, and I apologize for the long sentence here, but it encapsulates a lot. We are recognized locally, statewide, nationally for innovation, environmental stewardship, a lot of our work with data, customer service, water efficiency, and workforce culture. In fact, we are the top workplace in Orange County. And we also really pride ourselves on being able to offer customers the lowest average bill in South Orange County. So a little bit about bill adjustments. I mean, I think as a water efficiency manager, one of the things that I appreciate about being able to offer customers bill adjustments is that it keeps the focus on using water efficiently. You know, we tell our customers it's not about using less, it's about wasting less. We want to give them the tools to be able to use water efficiently and keep their bills low. One of the best demand management strategies that we have is the water budget-based rate structure. We converted to that rate structure back in 2011, and what it does is it provides each of our customers with a customized budget every month. And so that way it gives that customer an understanding of what an efficient use of water should be based on their household needs or their business needs. The bill adjustment process also gives us an opportunity to engage customers and educate them. You know, they may get a high bill and reach out to the water district for help, and that may be the first and maybe only time that they get a chance to interact with our staff. And so we want to make sure that this is a good experience for them, that it's a learning experience for them, and that we're able to provide them with excellent customer service. And that's just something as an agency culture we really try to support. We want to make sure that our customers, you know, understand how best to manage their water, and that we're doing a great job by serving them. And so just a little bit about the bill adjustment. Here's some of the reasons that customers may reach out to us for a bill adjustment. First and foremost is a leak repair. So if customers experience a leak and it causes their bill to spike, you know, they can reach out to the district and we can help them try to identify that leak and make that repair, and then, you know, enter into the bill adjustment process. We also provide an adjustment for folks that are establishing California-friendly landscapes. So if you need a little bit of extra water during the months of November to May to get your landscape established, we can go ahead and help you out with that. We also provide our new customers with a courtesy adjustment because they may not be familiar with the water budget-based rate structure. And again, that's a touch point that we get with that customer just to educate them on how their bill is going to look, what that budget looks like, and what it's intended to help them do, which is keep their bill low. Another one that we see pretty frequently is an irrigation timer malfunction. We allow a budget adjustment, or excuse me, a bill adjustment for that once every 3 years. And again, it's an opportunity to explain to customers that, if they don't have their timer plugged in or have a backup battery in there, they could experience a malfunction. And so it's just a really great opportunity to educate them on efficient outdoor watering and how best to maintain their irrigation timer. And similarly with pool fills, we know that pools are a major investment, and we don't want our customers to feel like they can't fill up their pool. And so we provide a bill adjustment for those once every 5 years. And then the last one is we've recently temporarily amended our bill adjustment policy, and we'll talk more about that toward the end. And that's just to provide customers a little bit of relief who have experienced economic hardships or public health hardships because of COVID-19. And so just a little bit about our bill adjustment process and procedures. Bill adjustments are available to both residents and commercial businesses and our dedicated irrigation customers. And what we do is we will adjust the highest bill affected by one of the reasons that I previously stated. So they may have a few high bills, but we'll adjust the highest one. And usually that's a conversation that takes place between us and the customer. They make their choice. We rebuild the 2 highest tiers at the cost of water. Something that is very important for customers to understand is that they have to be back in budget in order to get that bill adjustment, and that they have 2 billing cycles to do so. And so what I've provided over here is just an illustration of what our residential water budget-based rate structure looks like. It's a 5-tier rate structure. Tier 1 is basically their indoor budget. So that's based on the number of folks in their home and a certain gallons per person per day. Tier 2 is their outdoor budget, and that's going to be based on the amount of irrigable area that they irrigate. And then tier 3 is roughly our cost of water. And then you can see in tiers 4 and 5, we have increasingly higher unit costs. And that orange piece is the part that actually goes into our water conservation fund. And so customers that go above their budget and actually pay a little bit more, all of that extra money gets put into a water conservation fund to fund resources and staff like myself to help customers and support them in getting back under budget and using water efficiently. But in the case of a bill adjustment, if a customer has usage in tiers 4 and 5, they're eligible to have those 2 tiers rebuild at the tier 3 price. And so you can see if you get into tier 5 usage, which is about $9.86 right now, having all of that usage rebuild at just under $4 is a great benefit to a customer. So it's a huge incentive to them if they get a high bill to give us a call, get back under budget, and start using water more efficiently. So that's our bill adjustment process. Back in 2015, we adopted a new billing system. And one of the challenges that we encountered, and I'm sure if anybody on this call is listening and they've had to procure a new billing system, it is just a challenge to get a billing system that can meet everybody's needs. And one of the things that we ran into is that this billing system just could not perform rebills for a 5-tier water budget-based rate structure. And so as a result, it's a process that we've done external to our billing system, largely by the water efficiency department. And so what I'm going to do is briefly take you on our journey to reaching out to the folks over at the California Data Collaborative and show you a little bit about what we've gone through and some of the things that we wanted to address when we met with them. So we got the new billing system in 2015, and in 2016, I've got a little counter up there on the top right. It took us about 30 plus minutes to process just one adjustment. And what I've got below there are all the different tools and different types of medium that we had to work with in order to process a single adjustment. So you can see there's some paper, there's an Excel sheet. We have a really simple web form, and there's our billing system down there at the bottom. So we had 2 separate processes. We were accepting bill adjustments in paper form, and then we also had digital submissions to this very simple web form. We had to hand process and calculate these bill adjustments, and we did some very basic tracking in Excel. It was our opportunity to double check. We had a big filing cabinet that had all of our hand processed bill adjustments in it, and and then we'd have to take all of that and condense it down, put it in that Excel sheet, and then walk it over to billing, and billing would enter those bill adjustment credits in the form of a triple check. And so, we got to the point where it was taking a lot of time, and I'm just talking about the 30 minutes within the water efficiency department. There's probably additional time done by the billing department to have to go through and double check the calculations on all of those different bill adjustments. And so, this is where we started. And then to make things a little more challenging, in 2016, we were just coming out of the drought, and we were in a water shortage contingency plan, which required a signature from our AGM on all of our bill adjustments. And so there was an added step. So there's another paper that had to get printed off and circulated. And so we figured we got to do something. There's got to be a better way. The next year we upgraded our web form. We went from a very simple form to what's called seamless docs, which actually allowed us to have, there was like an email function that was built into that form builder. We had a custom workflow on the back end. So when somebody submitted a bill adjustment request, we could actually start putting them in stages and tracking them. But unfortunately, it didn't have the ability to do any type of calculations. It didn't have any dynamically populated email templates, nothing like that. And so we had to still start we started calculating all of our bill adjustments in Excel, but it was a static Excel sheet. Everybody had on their local drives, they had to store an Excel sheet that would do the calculations for them. We had this Word template where you had to copy and paste, the email that you wanted to send to the customer. And so you had to like scroll through the Word document to find the template that you wanted, or find the JDE, the billing note that you wanted to put in there. And then we also did some credit tracking in Google Sheets, because it was the only way that all of our 3 or 4 water efficiency folks could see who was processing what at the same time. And then we still had the manual process of delivering to billing. And as you can see, this helped us shave 5 minutes off of each of our adjustments. And we were pretty excited about that. But again, we knew that we could do more. And the thing I think is going to resonate with folks out there is, to do this process, we needed 3 monitors for each of our water efficiency reps to process. And so it was just, although it was a little less time intensive, it was pretty cumbersome. And so in 2018, we started working. Fortunately, we have the wonderful resource of a data team on staff, and they're brilliant. So between the data collaborative and our data team, they really helped us kind of come out of the dark ages here and start using, better tools. And so they built us this dynamic Excel sheet. And this Excel sheet was linked to a mirrored database, or mirrored copy of our database. So now we could just put in the customer's account number, and it would automatically pull up all the bills that the customer, could potentially have rebilled. We can make a selection from there. That was a huge help, because now we no longer had to start shifting screens, going back to the billing system, then back to the static Excel sheet. We could have our credits and our bills automatically calculated. We were able to create this Excel sheet that had like concatenated fields that would dynamically populate email and JDE templates, which was really great, because you could just copy and paste that into Seamless. I think you can still hear we're still using 4 or 5 different applications to do this, but what it did is it helped us get away from paper processing, and it helped us reduce the amount of manual entry that we had to do. Although billing still needed like a final cut sheet to do like that 3rd check, and there's still a lot of opportunities to improve. And that's when we decided to really reach out to the data collaborative, because we knew that there were some things that they could do for us that, us just kind of, piecemealing slowly weren't going to get us there. But by 2018, you could see we're down to 16 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more per adjustment. So we'd already cut our time in half. We thought we were doing pretty good, but as you'll see, we had major improvements just from working with the data collaborative. So here's a little bit about the design and implementation. The first thing that Chris and Dave did with us is they did a needs assessment. I call it a therapy session because they're not just great data scientists and software developers, they're also great listeners. And as part of that needs assessment, we got a chance to tell them, here's our pain points. Here's what we've done. Here's where we'd like to see ourselves go. Here's what we want to be able to do for customers. We want to process things quickly, so that way they can get resolution on their concerns faster. Nobody wants to wait 3 or 4 weeks to get their check. They want to get it as soon as possible, and we want to get it to them as soon as possible. They were great about getting out the Visio sheets and walking us through all the different ways that we could pretty seamlessly streamline the bill adjustment process, and they built us a custom tool to do it. We had great mock-ups. We had biweekly review sessions. They were extremely organized. And as you were talking about, that design process, Abe, I started to recall all the things that we used to do. We would tell them what we needed. They do like a mock-up, and they do like that sprint development, and then come back to us to get our feedback, and then we'd iterate from there. The great part about this process is that we were able to bring in not just water use efficiency staff, but our customer service staff and our billing staff. And we were able to make a tool that met everybody's needs. So that way, it reduced the amount of time that water efficiency spent managing these bill adjustments, but also the billing and the customer service staff. So all in total, it took about 3 months to build and test. Once we went live, we had some minor iterations to the tool, but for the most part, it exists as it was originally designed. Here are some other things that I wanted to highlight. So now that we have we call it the BAT tool, like our little BAT logo, bill adjustment tool. Now we are down to 5 minutes of processing time per adjustment. We have literally cut the processing time by, 5/6. Like we can do a lot of these very quickly. And as you'll see when I show you the volume of bill adjustments that we're currently processing, this tool paid for itself. I think all in total, it was about $20,000 to $25,000 for custom software. And I think within the first quarter, the tool paid for itself. And you'll see shortly why I say that. But some of the things that we were able to do, we kept our form builder. It actually had an API that the Data Collaborative was really easily able to streamline or stream into this custom built tool. We could enhance some QA QC features that we just weren't able to do with a stock form builder. So for example, when customers enter in their account number, if you have a form builder, a form or web form, excuse me, what they enter in is usually, it's not changeable. Whatever the customer puts in, that's what you're stuck with. But we were able to do kind of a workflow within this product that allowed us to double check the account number, make sure that it was correct. Once we got the account number where we needed it to be, it would automatically call all that information from our billing system and allow us to process that within the tool. Similarly, they were great about building in an email feature that had dynamic templates, which streamlines that email process. We have, I mentioned earlier, customers have 2 billing cycles to get back within budget. And we used to have to babysit those things. Like we'd have to go and check and see, well, when is Mr. Smith going to get his next bill? We'll have to go look and see how he's doing. Now, basically, this tool checks the billing system, looks for when the next bill for Mr. Smith is going to be available, and brings it to our attention and says, hey, this bill is available. It's either under budget or over budget. Let's let this customer know whether they can get their adjustment or whether they need additional help. We can download a database directly from the tool, which is really great because that's easily uploaded into Power BI for additional analytics. But we also have some other key features that I wanted to point out. And just how I was kind of mentioning, I call it snoozing, sorting, and staging. Oh my. This helps us, do all the functionality that we really need. We can see if somebody's back in budget, and if they're not, we can snooze them for another month and wait till their next bill comes back out. This easily lets us sort between whether a customer needs action, whether they're ready for billing, whether their credit needs to be entered. And this interface that they provide for us, everybody can get a login. It's not just the water efficiency staff, and we're not paying per login. All of our customer account reps, all of our billing reps, and all of our water efficiency reps all have access to this tool. And so we're working in the same tool simultaneously. So that way we don't have to, download sheets, print them out, walk them over to billing. All of it's processed in one place, and we're all seeing the same information in real time. As a manager, one of the things that I really wanted to see was a utility dashboard. And this is something just as a simple dashboard that lets us know, what are our submissions? What's the count of bill adjustments that need to be processed? What's their status? What's the application processing time? Like how quickly are we getting these processed? And then finally, I think this is one of the features that everybody has been the most excited about. This is our account lookup tool. I know it's not the prettiest thing to look at, but boy, is it helpful, because customers that are eligible for bill adjustments have to have usage in tiers 4 and 5. And then, it's challenging to try to make that quick calculation for a customer if they call and they say, yeah, I know I went over, but how much is my credit really going to be? And if you tell a customer that if they went for a rebill and they're only going to get $1.80 back, it might not be worth their time for them to submit the bill adjustment and go through this process. But as you can see at the very bottom, this customer had a high bill and they had a potential for $122 reimbursement. Now that is something that they're interested in doing, and that helps our customer service team quickly look up their account, get that information to the customer and let them make that decision without having to wonder, whether or not it's worth their time to continue with the process. And then whether or not they basically want to submit that bill adjustment overall. And so one last thing, and then this I promise is my last slide. So in 2020, obviously, COVID-19 was just something that was hugely unexpected. We actually implemented our bill adjustment tool in November of 2019. And I am so happy for the timing of the implementation of that tool, because what you can see here is our volume of adjustments. As I mentioned, a lot of folks out there are having quite a bit of hardship, just, trying to get through 2020 and 2021, I know has started off a little rough too. And so, with trying to help folks out and be able to process these bill adjustments, we have seen a huge increase in the number of bill adjustments. So what you're seeing there in the gray was our highest year to date. That's 2019. We peaked at about 186 bill adjustments, or just shy of 200. And that's usually in the fall. There's some seasonality to these bill adjustments, just because bills tend to go higher in the summer because of budget or outdoor watering. But as you can see over the last year, we've really seen a huge increase in the number of bill adjustments processed. And I couldn't even imagine having to process 452 bill adjustments in 1 month if we were still working under conditions that took 30 minutes to process an individual bill adjustment. So, I'm super thankful that we had a chance to go through this, that we have the support of our exec team and our board to do these types of innovations, because we were able to really help a lot of customers over the last year and not impact staff too much. And we didn't have to bring on a bunch of additional staff to help do this. So it actually has quite a bit of avoided costs. And that's why I say the tool is really paid for itself. And so with that, I'll share my contact details here, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has about our experience or just bill adjustments in general, or you can always email or give me a call. But with that, I'll turn it back to Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsey. This is, well, first off, I guess I'm glad you think that we are good listeners. I just wanted to sort of, that is high praise. So thank you. I just want to sort of, real quickly try and, tie some of the points that Abe made to this great example from Lindsey. And I think Lindsey did a pretty good job already, but just to make it sort of explicit, that therapy session is sort of Abe's empathize. That's Abe's empathize sort of point right there. We try and listen and really understand and get in the shoes of, of the problem or of just the situation, I guess, and understand, how are things right now, and then do the best we can to define that sort of concretely. And so I don't know if, I think Lindsey hinted at the Visio, but after sitting down and listening for hours to how things are done and watching people work at their workstations, we came back after a couple weeks, or the next week or something, and we were had this giant flow chart that was if you printed it out, I think it's filled onto 4 pages or something. This is how things happen right now, and here's some ways that we could tweak them. So that empathize, define, ideate. I clearly remember being in Lindsey's office, just sketching things out on the whiteboard. What if we did this? What if we did that? And oh, that won't work because this limitation. So, just trying to spit out some ideas. Prototype. we built this, functioning prototype. And then we just, over the course of, as Lindsey said, 3 months or something, we're just meeting regularly, adding in more functionality, piece by piece, and then, at the end, testing it and, getting a sort of go live strategy that could work for them. And so I know we only have about 10 minutes left, so I want to turn it over to questions, to the audience for questions. If you want to like raise your hand, we could call on you if you want to speak, or you can please feel free to type into the chat. And I'm sure Abe and Lindsey are happy to answer. But we may have just lost Lindsey temporarily. Hopefully she'll be back. There she is.
I'm back.
Let me see. Have any no raised hands? No. I guess last chance for questions. Going once. Going twice. Okay. Well, I think you two did such a good job explaining everything that everyone is 100% clear on things.
Fabulous.
So that's great news. Yeah, so I once again like to thank our speakers. Thanks Abe, thanks Lindsey, and one last plug. We have.
I see a question. Sorry.
Oh, there's a question. There's a raised hands. We have Charles Hillier.
Hi,
go
I just
ahead,
unmuted
Charles.
myself. Should I just ask directly?
Sure.
So I have a technical question about the JD Edwards system. We also use that for billing here at CSU Fresno. And I'm curious how you handled the interoperability with other applications for the JD Edwards system. That's a big bottleneck for us.
Did you get that, Lindsey?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's more addressed to me. I think it's probably more addressed to you. I don't know if you want me to answer that one. Like,
yeah, well, I can speak to how we've done it,
yeah,
and I can sort of speak anecdotally how I've heard Moulton's IT staff speak about it. So we did not actually integrate with JD Edwards directly. We integrated with a mirror of their a read-only mirror of the billing system. So they have a database that's useful for situations like, it's useful for like analysis. It's useful for situations like this where we didn't need to write to the database. They just have the database live replicating to a mirror, and then other external applications can query that mirror database without bogging down the main system. You don't have to worry about some big analytics query making your bills run a day late or something, which is very, very useful. And then I know that they have, there are ways for them to integrate with other tools, but I can't really speak to that. Sorry.
Yeah, we've looked into it too, and they're not particularly desirable. But the mirror database, I guess I'll need to read up more on that. That sounds actually like it might help us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for asking. Let's see, we have. Okay, looks like we have. Aha, here we go. This one looks like it. Let's see, from Dan Kwan. When using human-centered design, specifically with cross-functional teams, how do you engage staff when some are more and less interested in engaging in this way and thinking and experimenting? Thanks again for the presentation. I don't know who wants to take that one.
Yeah, I can take that one. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, usually it takes someone taking the lead of a champion, a human-centered design champion within the organization. And part of that challenge is actually empathizing with that colleague or with that staff member and really understanding like what is their hesitation, like what mindset are they bringing to the project that is kind of getting in the way of them kind of seeing value. in the process or in the project or in the final output. So it's really kind of exercising that empathy skill and really trying to find that common ground. Because really there's, the lack of interest or any kind of resistance is merely the symptom. There's something underlying that's kind of informing that, and kind of understanding that will kind of provide space for conversation to be had to be able to move forward.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's a, and I feel like a lot of people, and I assume this is, maybe it's not universal, but I feel like a lot of people, if they're sort of given the freedom to exercise some of this, if they feel like they have, if they've given the stamp of approval, like, okay, you can, you can spend, I don't know, half your day or something, in a room with a whiteboard, just like being creative. I feel like you can unlock a lot of creativity that's there. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, with that, I guess we'll let you guys go a couple minutes early. Oh, I had one more piece of logistics. So we have another webinar coming up in our winter webinar series on the, I believe, February 11th. We're going to hear from Casey Wickman, who's a professor at Georgia Tech, talking about his recent research on water affordability. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this is being recorded, and we'll share it with the group after the fact. So with that, thank you, Abe, thank you, Lindsey, and thank everyone for attending. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.